What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the locker room. I am your host and your favorite Kansas City girl, Kennedy Bright. And as always, what is said in the locker room stays in the locker room. Get your playbooks ready, guys. So, this is actually the second time I'm recording this episode for this week, just because I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it yesterday. I felt like I wasn't really getting out what it is that I wanted to say. So I wanted to redo the episode. And since I'm doing it like last minute, I'm literally sitting in the car right now outside of Starbucks trying to record this. It's not hot in Dallas, but like with sitting in a car with like no air and everything, it can be kind of hot. So you might hear little thing. I have like the windows cracked a little bit. So the quality might not be as good. Plus, I'm officially back in Texas, so I need to get my mic so I can record. But I want to redo the episode just to feel more comfortable. Like, I don't want to put things out that I'm not comfortable with. And I also want to make sure that I'm saying what it is I want to say. And I'm trying to be very consistent. So this will be like my third week in a row putting out an episode. So I'm super excited. This week's episode was actually, I was going to do one on my trip to California and like how I felt about it, what I learned, whatever. But I'm not a self help podcast. That's not me. And that's fine for people who are, but it makes me anxious to even think about trying to be all self-helpy and tell people like tips and advice. Like I can talk to you about a particular situation, but just trying to just do a whole general thing, like it's actually kind of hard for me. So I was like, yeah, that's not me. Like my journey and like what I'm on right now, like I can document it through like creating content through like vlogs on my YouTube, but just strictly talking to you, like making different posts about like I was gonna do 25 things I've learned in the 25 years of life. Stuff like that just isn't for me. So that's what I'm not doing. But this week's episode actually came to like I have several topics, but the reason I even pushed this one to the top was I was talking to my friend the other night and we were discussing just about different we're talking about this athlete and thing or whatever with someone and she was like, "What? You don't like him?" For her, like he's an athlete. And I was like, "Okay, first off, all athletes are not the same. So just because that guy is an athlete doesn't mean that that automatically means I'm gonna like him for someone." Two, I was just explaining how some people just get really caught up in like that WAG lifestyle, what they want out of like what they see their life is like through social media and they really want it and they'll kind of like glamorize it and do anything for it. And she's like, I can see how that happens though. Like if you like athletes, so you see the lifestyle. I'm like, no, because I'm not that kind of person. And I know through my social media, people probably really do genuinely think that like I like the WAG lifestyle or that's what I'm obsessed with, that that's what I'm after when it comes to athletes and things like that. And that's actually not the case. So I wanted to actually go ahead and create this episode to one, tell you guys my ideal WAG life, and two, which you probably will honestly find it shocking. And then two, to explain to you why I like athletes, because I feel like I need to make that disclaimer because I think a lot of people themselves like don't understand or know like my reasoning for it. And we'll just get into it and I'll as I go through you'll understand where I'm coming from about like why I feel like my reasons and things are different. So first things first. Okay, so first off, if you don't know what a WAG is, it means wives and girlfriends is just what it means. But it's directly a lot of times like associated with wives and girlfriends of athletes. So they're called WAGs. And there were like some shows about it in the past on like I think Oxygen or something like that or Bravo or something. And then also just like that's just what you hear about it, the girlfriends at the games, things like that. And I want to make a disclaimer. I do have some friends who are actually WAGs and also are like moms in addition to being WAGs. So this is not about like if I do not know you, like I never will judge your life or anything. So this is not about WAGs in general, but it's about how people perceive them and how they feel about them. You know what I'm saying? But not about WAGs themselves. So I want to like make sure that that's like clear. I get a lot of different DMs, messages, just from like how girls are always like, how do I find an athlete? Things like that, which is kind of interesting to me because out of all the guys I've ever talked to, and they're usually all athletes actually. I don't think I've really talked to a regular dude seriously. They all approach me. I never approach them. I never like reach out to them. So I think that's why it is different for me for girls like seeking only like preying upon athletes. It's kind of like weird to me. So that's one. No offense to people who are that way. But when girls obsess over their lives, to me, like the WAGs, is kind of like weird. Honestly, like I don't know how to explain it. I get girls who are constantly like, "Oh my god, I'm so jealous. Like, look at her life. Like, oh my god, like they're living her best life. She's sitting in the skybox, or she's at the game in general, or her outfit, or like just like, you know, in the Bible or whatever, not to be all religious, but like how they say like you're not supposed to covet another person's like life. Like they literally covered their lives. And I'm like, so you want this girl's life? Why? Like, what are your reasons? Because she has cute outfits that she wears to a game, because she sits in, I don't know, a skybox, or some girls don't even sit in skyboxes. She's at the games, why she's in a sprinter, like what is your reasoning? Because if you really look at it, all of that you can actually have by yourself. So I don't get why girls feel the need to want a quote unquote WAG lifestyle, or why that's something that they want, when those things you can have yourself. You know, if you work, you can get your own tickets to a game and have really good seats. You can always still go show up to a game looking cute, decked out. You know what I'm saying? You can still rent a sprinter with you and your friends or whatever and go to games, still tailgate, whatever, still take shots. Like, I don't know what it is, and so for you, what I want you to sit and think about is, what is your reasoning if you're that kind of girl who looks at a WAG life and is, you know, like, not, I don't want to say jealous, but like jealous, like envious, like you want that life. What about the life do you want? Because I guarantee you, after you write that on a piece of paper, you're gonna be able to go back and look at like what it is you actually want, and actually realize, wow, I'm actually able to obtain and have all these things on my own. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why for me, I kind of find it weird, because I'm like, the things that you guys want you literally can still have, even if your man is not an athlete. And I was explaining to one of the girls I was friends with, and she sometimes kind of can be that way, like, oh my God, like, that's what we should be doing, this or that. And I'm like, I don't need a man to give me tickets to go to a game. I don't need anyone to give me, like, if you're a fan of the sport, fan of a team, you can still be super decked out at a game, still go to a game, like, do all of that. Like, you don't need a guy to make it appropriate for you to wear like a super cute outfit to a game, I don't know. So for me, I don't get it. And I was like, it's more powerful to me when you're popping out at games and doing things like that on your own dime and your own money. Don't get me wrong, it is great to have free tickets. Don't get me wrong, I do not like paying for tickets. I don't. Tickets are crazy expensive. I don't like paying for them. Definitely don't. But I'm just saying, you don't need a man to do those things. So I don't really quite understand why some girls are that way when it comes to the things that they see. Once again, we see highlight reels of people's lives, and luckily for me, I have a very good distinction between real life and social media. So, based off what I see on social media, I never am jealous or anything of anyone. Another thing about me, I have super crazy good confidence, and it's something that I hope my kids have. And honestly, I think it comes from playing sports. Anything I've always wanted in life, I can obtain. Anything I want in life, I can do. Like, it's great. So for me, I'm always like, it doesn't matter. Like, I can have that life. So if I see someone have something, I always know that I'm able to obtain it, long as like I can work for it. Like, nothing is off limits in this world. And I think it's because I've had that mindset from sports. If you want to be great, you want to be this, you got to work at it. So I think everything's that way. Like, I kid you not. If I wake up tomorrow and decide I want to become president of the United States, I would go to law school, follow that path, and like truly be like, yeah, I'm going to become I'm going to become president in 10, 15 years, whatever. Like, that's seriously the kind of person that I am. And I want my kids to be the same way. I always say on my YouTube intro, like, I'm not that girl. I'm not the it girl. I'm the girl. The reason I say that is because when you think about it, when it's always like, oh, that's that girl, like that, or I don't even know where, I think Megan came up with it girl. I don't know what that one is, but that girl to me is just like that girl. Like, oh yeah, she's that girl over there. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, to me, that gives a little, The girl is like, like in movies and things like that, where I was watching one and the guy was like, who is that? She was like, are you kidding me? That's John Gold, the John Gold. Like, when you put like the Ohio State in front of it, it puts a different type of respect on it, and it shows your different type of level of like, not superior, because we're not here to think we're better than people, but it puts you up there and you're able to seriously look at yourself and be like, yeah, I am this person. You're able to, people know your name. People see me like, oh my God, that's Kennedy Bright, like the Kennedy Bright, not, oh yeah, she's that girl, Kennedy Bright. Like, it don't flow better for me. It doesn't put me on the level that I am. And so that's why I see myself that way, and I come off that way, and I act that way. We'll have to do a whole episode on my confidence, because people who don't know me probably think I'm super conceited, but I'm genuinely not. Okay. Like, I'm just very confident, and I want others to feel as confident as I do, because I believe that there's room for everyone on this world, and no one can be me. No one can be Kennedy Bright. And whatever you do is always going to be done differently. So that is my superpower. But so that's why when I'm never envious of like certain girls' lives in general. And in particular, since we're talking about WAGs, that's never the case. It's always like, if I want that life, I'll have it. with or without an athlete. Like, I can have all those things. Like, what is it that you like about this girl? You can do that. You see what I'm saying? And then there are people who sometimes I feel can put things out there because they want you guys to be envious. They want you to be jealous. They want to come off like their life is so great. I'm in a skybox taking shots at Strata Clock. You know what I'm saying? Like, girls that I feel like are fake and I feel like are putting content out there just to come off like they're just this kind of person, I will not follow you. I'll unfollow you. Anyone who I feel like their energy is not coming from a good place, I won't follow you. If I feel like your content is made to make other people feel envious, I won't follow you. And the fact that people fall for that trap and see what they put out there and are envious of them, I don't like it. Like, that's just not, it's not for me. And I don't want to get preachy on you, but I do want to like make sure you guys understand, like, you have to like, that's sometimes what they want. And I'm always a person, I like to come from a place of inspiring and not from a place of, wanting other people to be jealous or for other people to want what I have. Like, when people will comment on my content and things, "Oh my god, you living your life, living the life I wish I could have your life," or I want to, like, no. Like, I want you to know that you can have this too, but I don't want you to ever wish that you were me or wish that your life was mine. So that's why too I don't sometimes align with some girls' things that I see. The content's not giving genuine how I think it should be, if that makes sense. So you have to be careful because some people, as I always say, let the devil use them, and the devil wants you to be jealous and envious. So you're feeding into that. Like, you should be able to look at girls' lives or anyone and what is it that you like about it? What is it that you would want to obtain? Like, when you see this, what about it do you like? And find a way to have that in your own life. And that does not always mean and doesn't mean that you need an athlete. Because 9 times out of 10, the things you like about these girls' lives probably has nothing to do with the guy on the field. It's probably just about them, how they carry themselves, the way they dress, like whatever. So that's first my little disclaimer, and also wanting to state kind of where this is coming from in this topic because I think it's important. And I think the difference that I've realized, you can like athletes, but that doesn't, let me say this. I feel like there are girls out here who like athletes for the wrong reasons, and that's what gives such a negative name towards it. And the girls who think that way and are obsessed with other girls' lives, they're the reason. I'm going to be honest. And that's why when I created my Athletes Anonymous support group, you're not allowed to gossip whether it's good or bad. We're not going to be here. We're here to give support. And I created it because my friends don't date athletes like I do, so they don't understand sometimes where I'm coming from with things and the advice I need. Because I'm going to be honest, being with an athlete is completely different from being with a regular guy. They're all human, they're all males, but at the same time, their mental toll and things like that, like, their situations are different. So I want to create a safe place for girls to be able to get that support that they needed and be able to have some really good insight on the situations that they're in and how to handle them properly. But we are not going to sit here and covet other girls' lives. We're not going to sit here and be like, "Oh my god, they're having a baby. Look at her, she looks so cute. Like, oh my god, I'm so jealous." Like, that's what we're not going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I give people their props, like, pop off, like, when you look good and everything, but you can like something about someone and praise something about someone and not be like jealous. And I think people need to understand that difference between that. Now I'm going to get into my ideal WAG life. Like, if I got to create the perfect WAG life, I'm going to explain to you what it is. And it's probably going to shock a lot of you, honestly, but this is my life. First off, I want to start off back to when I was a kid. We're gonna start at 5 years old, so that way it makes a lot of sense. So when I was 5 is when I started playing sports. I started playing competitive soccer at 7. So I've played, soccer and everything all the way up till college. Same with track. I always saw myself as a kid as a professional athlete. I always knew that I was gonna be a professional soccer player. That's what my dad always told me, that's what I always was gonna do. So if you, like, imagine my speed, how fast I am, and a lot of people are fast, right? You can be fast and you can be track fast, but not to get too technical and all that, we'll go down a whole other path. It seemed very realistic because I had track speed where, like, I was able to run at Division 1 level. Like, track speed in the sport of soccer was completely lethal. So that's why growing up, it was not far off for my coach and everyone to say I was gonna go, be a professional soccer player. Of course, I took a turn in sports as I got older. If you know my story, you know. But that was what I was gonna be. I was gonna be the next, Brianna Scurry, Natasha Kai. Like, that's what my dad used to tell me. That's what I was gonna do. And I've always been, you be with people who are like you. So I was always gonna marry another professional athlete. We were both gonna be professional athletes, and we were gonna have, not professional athlete kids, but kids who were athletic. That's something that I've always thought about since I was like probably 6 for sure. Like, I promise you, that was just the life I thought. I never imagined myself being a athlete's girlfriend or athlete's wife, and that's like my title, but always that we both were professional athletes, okay? Like Sydney LaRue, like and Dom Dwyer. I know sadly they are getting a divorce, but that's how I always pictured my life, okay? So that's first off. And then if you look at it growing up, all I was ever around were athletes. The kids I hung out with were kids on my team because we're playing competitive sports, so I'm traveling a lot to different tournaments, whatever. And then you get to high school, same thing. College, you have athletic centers, so that's where you do like your tutoring, study hall hours, meet with your coach's office, like everything's in there. And that's where I used to go, like to do like just study and stuff. So when you're looking at it that way, all I've ever been around my whole life is always athletes and always sports, and that's who I'm around. Growing up, it's not a problem, and never was a problem that I only liked and wanted to date athletes. For some reason, now that I'm hitting 25 and my age range is now professional athletes. I'm too old for college, athletes, so they're all pros. It comes with a lot of negative ideas and a negative mindset when it comes to, oh, I only date athletes, because it comes into money, things like that. When you're talking about high school and college a little bit, but see, college still was seen as different. And I don't know if it's because you're more so grouped with athletes, so it's still not seen as bad, but for whatever reason, now it is just super negative. And so everyone's now like, Kennedy, like, want me to branch off and date a different male species. And I'm like, what the heck are you guys talking about? Like, I don't want to date these other guys. Like, what are regular dudes? We have nothing in common. And like, I kid you not, like, I just don't. I've tried it. We just don't have anything in common. Um, I've always dated athletes my whole life. It's been okay that I've said that, but now it's a problem. So, you know, since I was like 5, 6, I have always had the mindset that this is the kind of guy I was going to be with. And now you're telling me that that idea is wrong or it's negative or whatever. So, I wanted to go ahead and give you that mindset of where I'm coming from as a kid and how I've always been around those people. I mean, honestly, even when it comes to girls that I'm friends with who were not competitive athletes compared to girls who just were normal girls, I even noticed a difference in my friendships and difference in like our conversations and things like that. So there's no way you imagine me to be married to somebody who we just don't really completely align. Okay. Maybe God's man he has out there for me is not an athlete. That's super weird to even think about, but God knows best. Now that I've said that, my ideal WAG life is actually not what a lot of people probably would expect. I'm the kind of person, fun fact number one, I actually do not like NFL games. I cannot stand them. I do not like them. Going to NFL games, actually, if I'm going to a game to watch a guy I'm supporting, a guy I'm talking to, I freaking hate it because it's so much energy. If you've ever been to an NFL game, there's so much going on around you. There's like fans yelling, "Oh, tomahawk chop!" Like it's a lot happening, and it's really hard to concentrate, and it's really hard to like pay attention. I won't say that it just makes me like a better like girl or like girlfriend, nothing like that. But I think too, it also has to do with the fact that with my love for sports and me being a like sports journalism major and all that kind of stuff. When it comes to that, the athlete in me, I'm constantly like obsessed with the game. I'm obsessed with football. I'm obsessed with like learning and just being very invested. And so for me, trying to support someone I care about, like I really like to pay attention. And I'm not able to do that with all that fan energy around me. Get loud and all of that. Like I can't. Okay. You lose people on the field. And even if you're in a skybox, you can go sit in like the club room and you have the TVs, but you're still low key kind of a little chilly if it's a cold game. And the TVs aren't as big as like your flat screen at home. It's a lot going on around you. Do you want anything to eat? You want anything to drink? And you're trying to order stuff. It's like it's a lot. I personally like being at home watching games on TV. So me as like my ideal WAG life, I wouldn't go to games. That's just kind of not me. I prefer to watch his games at home. I like to watch the games in the not just like because it's in the comforts of my home. Not that, but it's like when you watch at home, you get more insight into the game. I get to learn each week how he's getting better, his improvement. I get to hear what the commentators are saying. I'm getting to see like what he's working on. Like, did he cover that wide receiver well? Did he, how was he how was he in zone defense? Like getting to really sit and like listen and watch. There's replays. I can follow you easier when I'm watching on TV. It's just a lot more for me to learn and take in. And like for instance, if someone's out of the game because they're head to the locker room to get examined, oh my God, look like he got hit pretty badly or something, and they're getting like concussion, and he's in concussion protocol, things like that. I'm able to find those things out faster. But when you're at the game, like sometimes, unless it's an ESPN notification, you just don't know. So it's like it's easier for me that way at home. And like I said, I'm able to know week in, week out, I'm able to tell like how things are going. Also, when I watch at home, because of the replays and stuff, I'm able to see, oh my God, he didn't cover that player well, he let him loose, like whatever. So that way, when I'm able to do that, I know when the game's over. I know just because his team won, maybe he didn't play as good, so I can tell his mood. Because you have to understand that just because the team wins does not mean that he's going to be in a good mood, because he could have still played a bad game. So there's also that gets played into it. So I personally, I would not go to games. I like watching games at home. People probably don't know that about me, but if I'm just going to a game, I'm going to go to a game for like energy, and I'm gonna go to the game for like fan experience, and I'm probably not gonna be super zoned in. But if I'm gonna watch a game of a guy that I talk to, care about, or whatever, I can't do it. I'm sorry. The next thing is based off like the WAG life. Like a lot of times they take like the sprinters, and like they're having like tailgates and all that. If I'm watching a game about someone that I talk to and care about, I'm very anxious before the game. You would think I'm about to play. I literally can't breathe, you guys. I can't breathe. I'm having panic attacks. Like I'm super nervous for him and all of that. So I wouldn't do well in a social setting. And a lot of times when I'm zoned in, it can come off like I have like a huge resting bitch face and I have an attitude. So people probably would assume certain things about me, and a lot of girls sadly don't understand like the seriousness of games. Like to them, games are just for fun, and it's not like that for me. Like it's very important um to their lives and their mental health and things like that. So that's just not really me. Like it's not really social hour, and I don't really want to sit here and tailgate, and I don't want to, like I said, if I'm just going to like let me think of a team. Like a Chicago Bears game, I'm gonna be all lit, drink my mimosas, having fun. Why? Because I don't have anyone on that team. I'm just there for football energy. I'm there for a football game. I'm there to watch. If I miss a play, I miss a play. But if I am watching someone I care about, if I am there for him, is I can't. I'm tunnel vision. I'm focused. I'm zoned in. You see what I'm saying? So that's another thing. When it comes to I'm gonna pop out with pics, I'm always gonna look good. I'm gonna make sure I have a cute outfit just for myself. Like, yeah, I try to get a good pic or whatever, but I'm not a good documentation if we're for real talking about the game. I can after the game, I got you. After the game, we can take some pics or whatever, but that's not really my big thing. I like outfits. I love game day outfits, which is why I have that whole segment on my TikTok for game day outfits coming up this year. Talking so fast because it's just like thinking about game day is making me anxious. Like this to this day, and football is like months away. Yeah, that's how that is. Honestly, if it was like up to me and we had kids, I'm also a huge private person. People probably don't know that, but the guy I will pop out like Issa Rae. You'll know who I'm marrying like at my wedding. I don't ever see myself posting the guy I'm with. I don't ever see myself being with him like publicly, just because I think I've told you guys I've learned the power of privacy. And one thing I noticed actually was I kind of sometimes go back and forth to where I wish I didn't create a social presence and just had people that I actually knew, or like sometimes you have people that don't know you that followed you. So I'm able to post and support guys that I talk to and who I'm proud of, and people not be in my business. But I can't do that. So I just don't. I post like on my close friends, and that's about as good as it's gonna get, okay? I'm not that. So the life of like, oh my God, look at me and him, like you won't see it coming out of me. Like that's just not Kennedy. And I'm not interested in it. And that's just not my vibe at all. So all the perks, honestly, of being a WAG and people being like, this is so and so's girlfriend, and what did she wear this week? And going to the games and the sprinters and the fun IG stories that everyone's watching, that wouldn't be me. And even when if I ever, I don't know, I'm not into wearing like getting custom made stuff for him. Even if I was, I wouldn't be able to post it because, like I said, no one's supposed to know who he is. So there's that too. So like all the perks, just I don't have any benefit out of the perks, and I just kind of, yeah, that's not me. That's not my ideal life. Like honestly, I always say I'm gonna have a nanny on game day for my kids because I'm so focused on their dad's like performance and what he's doing. Like I don't have time to take no kids to the bathroom, change diapers. So I'll hire a nanny for specifically game days, and that will be her job. She gets to come sit, really good tickets, seats, but she gotta take care of my kids during game day. That's kind of my ideal life. Now, as I say my ideal life, you're probably like, this is boring. this is not a WAG life. You're living a normal ass life and watching football. Exactly. Now let me tell you why I like athletes, because people probably don't understand this. Going back to when I was 5, I was a kid when YouTube first came out. This is when you only could, I don't even think music videos were on YouTube yet. This was before people could create, like, accounts, and it was mostly just, like, sports highlights and different, like, clips from games. I used to sit there, used to watch that. I used to watch ESPN HS and search all these ESPN magazines, trying to figure out what makes LeBron James, Kobe Bryant. Like, what are these athletes doing at home to make them great athletes? And that is what I like about athletes the most. I like being around them, I like their energy, okay? I like how motivated they can make me feel. Even in my life that's just doing content creation right now, they motivate the hell out of me. There's 2 guys in particular who I hung out with the most, um, and their energy was just contagious. You know, how they cared about what they were eating. Not like how girls, "Oh my god, I need to count my calories." Not like that, but watching what they put into their body. Not only that, like, yeah, we always supposed to see our bodies as temples, but they have so much. Football is, a lot of people don't realize it does a lot to your mental, okay? And being able to see them practicing meditation, practicing yoga, giving me insights, things they've learned, taking care of their mind and body is just so powerful to me. And I'm learning tips, I'm learning things, and I like to see, like, what is this life like? Which is why that's my goal, is to create business to be able to show athletes, this, like, show the side of athletes that you don't really get to see. I like behind the closed doors of athlete lives. I'm not really into the social Sunday games thing. I'm more into every day what makes you be great, every day what makes you become this person. So that's kind of that's why I'm like that. So I just get so recharged. And I've talked about it before in an episode. A guy I was talking to last year, he's up in the NFL, and I was going through one of my depression episodes. And out of everyone in my 24 years of life, I was 24 then, that is the best advice I ever received. I won't go into it because it kind of can go long, but the point was, he explained it to me about what I need to do to get better mentally and all that. He explained it to me like an athlete and like a coach, and it clicked and made sense. And ever since then, like, things have been different for me. They just know how to talk to me. They know how to connect to me. They know, like, they motivate me, and I like that. So although a lot of these girls out here, I think that's just the athlete in me. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I think a lot of girls who are just regular normal girls, sometimes they don't see that value in that. They kind of want to just be more like cute cheerleader, like trophy wife vibe, which is, that's fine if that's your vibe, but that's not my vibe. You know what I'm saying? That's not my thing. So there was, like, a time when, like, COVID happened and everything, and I don't know if you remember the NFL, like, players, they weren't going to, um they didn't go away to training camps. They had to stay home and then go to their facilities. And for me, I, like, was like, let me do whatever I can to make this transition, make this situation better. So I would do laundry, but it was so relaxing because as I was doing his laundry and stuff for him, just to trying to make, like, the process a little bit easier, so he just kind of could focus just on football. He literally just was like, "All right, I'm actually about to go in the backyard. I'm about to get into the workout in. All right, I'll be right back." And I'm like, "Okay." He's out there working, out there putting in more work, out there. That was just so motivating. Hold on, I gotta do my night routine. Okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And then, like, everything was so organized. Like, I liked being there to help him kind of, like, make his, how do I say it? Make his life a little bit easier, and watch. I live through them, I guess, is in a way. Getting to watch them become great, getting to watch them live out their dreams. And the reason I knew, people always say why girls like athletes, and I do question sometimes my purity of why I like them, just to make sure that, I'm doing it out of a pure heart. But when one of the guys I was talking to, he had one of the biggest moments in his life, and it was so powerful. Everyone was going crazy. No one knew I knew him, and I was literally sitting there crying tears of joy because I was so happy for him, and I was so happy for what that meant for his career and everything. And at that moment, I realized, bro, yeah, like, you're literally doing it for the right reason, because I was so happy for him and I got no benefit out of it. No one knew I knew him. No one knew that we had anything going on, like, nothing. So for me, it came off very genuine, and that was just an amazing feeling for me. So what I like about athletes, like, I was talking to my friend, and what I realized, what I like about them is the behind the scenes. I'm not really into, like, just their social, their ads, things like that. I'm more of a huge behind the scenes is what I like about them. And I think that's why when girls are obsessed with the more social, the more everyday, the more like publicity, more public what you see lifestyle, I think that's why I'm not impressed by it because I like the person at home. I always used to say, I like the man behind the helmet. I like the life behind the helmet. I like the things you don't see. And that's super true. For me, yeah, it probably is a little different. My ideal guy, my ideal life is probably boring to a lot of people just because I don't wanna be known as someone's girlfriend, which is why I wanna create my own identity and my own brand. I want my own life, I want my own career, I want my own things, and then I wanna also still be super invested in his life and in his things, and a lot of times you have to understand the more people know publicly, like, the more it can add to his life, his career, and yours, and that's not it. Of course, I think you should support your man. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that everyone should be in private. That's not what I'm saying. But for me, being private is better for my mental health, my anxiety, and so it is for his. And so that's just how I like it. And like I said, I know it's probably boring to a lot of people, but that's more what I love about it. And I just want to share that with you guys this week. It is hot. I'm not gonna lie, I'm dying. It's probably a short episode, probably is like boring, but I hope you enjoyed it. Jesus, I'm hot. Oh my god. Okay. I will talk to you guys later in another episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Talk to you later. Bye. Oh, Jesus.